Welcome to my channel where an entitled person tries to arrest you because you parked your car in front of your own house. Our next post is from you incognito____mode. This happened about 3 years ago when I first moved into my house. The HOA police came to arrest me because I parked my car in front of my own house. To put some context, it's Florida, so homeowner's insurance includes flood insurance. And because my home is right on the water, my insurance premium is insane. So I dropped the flood insurance because I figured I would rather take my chances. This was one of those things that the home inspector warned me about, but I didn't listen. The home inspector also said that I should get a new roof as soon as possible. But instead I decided to fix some other issues first. After about 6 months of living there, I had a leak in my kitchen and discovered black mold. Because I had dropped the flood insurance, my claim was denied. To make matters worse, the repairs to remove and replace the moldy drywall and subfloor ended up totaling my home's value. I was upside down in my mortgage by a lot, so I listed the house for sale at whatever price I could list it for. To avoid a short sale, it was market priced for the area. A few weeks after listing my house, I got a call from my real estate agent saying that a potential buyer wanted to see the house. I let the agent in and he showed the potential buyer around the house. When they went outside, the potential buyer asked what the house in front of mine was. I told him that it belonged to the HOA and that they managed all of the properties on the canal. He told me that he was uninterested in buying a house where I had to pay rent to park in front of my own house. I thought nothing of it and went back to watching TV. While they finished looking around, a few days later I received an email from the HOA president letting me know that I violated the deed covenants and I had 30 days to register my vehicle with the HOA and pay the annual parking fee or I would be fined. I wrote back asking what exactly the rule is and how much the fee was. She responded that it was in the deed covenants, and I should have known better than to not read them before purchasing the house. She also stated that the fee was $1,080 per year. I checked the deed covenants, and it turns out that I did sign something agreeing to pay a parking fee to park on the street in front of my house. I've been paying this fee every month for over a year. But because I just paid off my mortgage and started making improvements to the house again, I decided to drop the fee because I was no longer getting any value from it. The HOA sent me a letter stating that if I didn't pay the fee, they would take me to court. I just laughed and waited for them to come and serve me. About 3 weeks after their letter, 2 men in golf carts show up at my door. I open the door and the guy in the lead shows me a badge that identifies him as an HOA police officer. He hands me a piece of paper and tells me to sign it, acknowledging that I was served. When I ask what it says, he tells me not to worry about it and just sign it. I tell him I'm not signing anything without reading it first. He gets mad and demands that I sign it. I refuse and close the door. He knocks again and I tell him through the door that I don't want to sign anything. He then threatens to break down my door and serve me by posting the papers on my door. I tell him to go ahead and try because it will be trespassing. He then opens the door without permission, walks inside and posts the papers on my wall. I watch the whole thing happen through the peephole. The papers say that I have 10 days to appear in HOA court or I will be arrested. I figure I'll just wait for them to show up. 3 days later, I receive a letter stating that I failed to appear in court and a warrant has been issued for my arrest. I figured I'll just wait for them to show up. At this point, I'm very angry because I now have a criminal record. Because these people are vindictive and want to hurt me, they won't even accept my payment for the fine if I can't make it to court. The next day, I get a call from my neighbor telling me that the HOA police are at my house and they're looking for me. I tell him that I know and that they should be careful because I'm armed. At this point, I've received 2 separate letters telling me that I have a warrant out for my arrest and I am not going to make it easy for them. About 5 minutes later, I hear pounding on my front door and my neighbor yelling at them to leave. My doorbell camera shows the HOA police trying to open the door, but it's locked. After they give up on opening the door, they walk around to the side of the house to my garage. One of them starts knocking on the garage door, but my security system picks it up and turns on the garage lights. That scared them off. My neighbor calls me and tells me that they tried to jump my fence, but they were even fast enough. At this point, I am pretty pissed off, and I start walking toward the back of my house with my gun in hand. As they're trying to get over the fence, I shine my spotlight from the back of my house directly in their eyes, yelling for them to get off my property. I call the cops. When the real cops show up, I tell them to go talk to my neighbor because he knows what happened. The real cops questioned my neighbor and thank me for calling them. They start asking me questions about what happened, and they look for any signs of forced entry. They find none because I didn't leave the front door unlocked for the HOA police to serve me. They also didn't break any windows to enter my house, and the only damage that they caused is to the bushes in the front yard. They ask me if I know who the HOA police officers are, and I tell them no. I also tell them that I am not worried about it, because I have cameras and I have a recording of everything that happened. They wish me luck and tell me to have a great rest of my day. I go back inside and check the recording. To my surprise, the HOA police officers were recorded the entire time they were here. I pull up the recording on my computer and watch it from the beginning. Then I see the guy who was wearing a badge walk across the screen. Something looks familiar about him. As I watch it again, I realize who he is. It's the guy who did my inspection before I bought the house. It's then that I realized that the guy who inspected my house was also the HOA president. I immediately call my real estate agent to ask him if he remembers the guy who was doing the home inspection. He does, and he sends me the name of the company. I go online and find his contact info and I give him a call. He answers, and I ask him if he's still the HOA president. He says yes. I tell him I'd like to speak to an actual police officer. He asks why, and I tell him that I need to file a complaint about his partner. He asks what he am talking about, and I tell him that I was being served and he trespassed on my property. He gets upset and tells me that he was uninvolved with any of this, and that I should be careful because they do have power and money. I tell him I'm filing a complaint either way, and hang up. I call back and ask for the actual police officer who was there today. He puts me on hold, and then comes back to the phone and tells me that he doesn't have any record of anyone by that name working for him. I ask if he can look up a badge number, and he says that he doesn't have any record of any badge numbers. I tell him that I have the badge number memorized, and I ask if he can look it up for me. He reluctantly agrees and comes back to the phone to tell me that it's not valid. I tell him that I have a recording and I can hear his partner's radio traffic. He tells me to go ahead and take it to court. I tell him that I plan to, and I hang up. I never heard from them again. Down in the comments we have this story from you, Harmless Party 42. Oh man, this happened to me too, except in Chicago. We were selling our house, and they towed my wife's car because she parked it on the lawn in front of the house during a showing. The realtor said that it was very important for curb appeal. The HOA tried to charge us over $1,000 to release the car from their lot. We had to have the tow company contact their attorney to get the car released. I love that part about how the entitled people always think that they're above the law. Oh, yeah. Because you're a part of the HOA. You have your own little private police force. You know, they really think that they can just get away with anything because they have their own little group of lackeys to do their bidding. It's like, guys, come on, you're not the freaking government. Like you don't have that kind of power. An OP. I love the fact that you just sat back and played their game. These people thrive on drama. They live for it. So when you gave them drama, oh boy, did they rise to the occasion. I love the part where you left the house for sale. You didn't care anymore. At that point, you just started playing their game. And since they love to play their little cops and judge everything, you just let them do it. And you know what? It worked perfectly, because you got the upper hand in the end. You got them arrested. Well, not technically arrested, but you got them into a lot of trouble. And that's kind of the same thing. That was our titled peep. And if you like this content, check out my podcast, where I publish the exact same episodes. Also hit that subscribe button because I put out new videos every single day.